Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus here again. Yesterday, I talked to you about 2 or 3 times. At least I made videos trying to reach out to you. That's because you, the American people and people of the earth, stay on my mind. I love the wonderful things that happen in this world, but there's so many ugly things that happen in this world that seems to just overcome all the good stuff. Just the other day, I heard that there was a gentleman on the train, and there was an incident that happened on that train because I think they said he was sick, had mental problems. And there was this young lady who came on this train and she took a seat right in front of him. He sat there for a moment, and a few minutes. And eventually the young man took out a pocket knife and it just stabbed this woman for as far as we know, no apparent reason, and took her life. And I'm sure that everybody who saw that video thought it was out of this world. How could someone do that to someone else? And then he got up, dripping blood as he was trying to get his exit, and finally walked out of the door. And all of those people who were there, many didn't even know what was going on. They didn't see it. Some did, and a little late because he had exited the train and people started trying to do something about it. But nevertheless, the man had acted. The woman, the young lady, was dead. Now, you know that's sickening, ladies and gentlemen. How can that happen? It happened. What was on that man's mind? We don't know, but it happened. Was it right? No, it wasn't right. If the people knew about it, should they have stopped them? Or maybe they couldn't stop the action because they didn't see it. But having seen the action or the effects of it, would it have been proper for them to try to detain him for the danger and for the problems he had caused? Of course it would. You have no problems assessing that. But can you see that action in everyday action that we as the American people do? I want you to look at that young lady sitting in that chair. She was on her phone, doing what she wanted to do, and hell broke loose on her. And when the hell broke loose, that's because the hell had a devil sitting right behind her with a knife. I want to see if you can correlate that with something else, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to go to Alcatraz Island. They say that's a place where it's horrendous the way the conditions are. But they got people sitting out there, innocent people. You say, well, they came into this country illegally. Illegally. They're human beings. They came to this country looking for life because they knew what was behind them sitting in a seat with their nation and the conduct of their nation behind them. And so they ran for their lives. They're trying to find life wherever they can find it. But they're at Alcatraz Island. Many of them, innocent as can be, did not violate any immigration laws. But they are people that are not respected. And you know what? Just like nobody came to the aid of that young lady. That's America. Alcatraz Island, that's America. And the people who are sitting by allowed that girl to die for whatever the reasons were. They're doing the same thing at Alcatraz Island. You're putting down the conduct of that young man who stabbed that woman. And you live with that same conduct yourselves every day. You're not changing anything. This morning I was asleep and I was awakened to something on the telling and reminding us of what happened with that young lady. And it reminded me of what I had to get up and say to you, the American people, that I have called dumb, stupid, and ignorant. Not because I don't love you, but because that's who you are. When you take a test in school, for those of you who are fortunate enough to go to school, when you flunk that test, your teacher gives you a flunking grade. They don't tell you were great. They don't tell you were smart, but that was just this little thing that happened and you couldn't control it. No, they tell you didn't know what the hell was going on. And and they give you a flunking grade. In America, I want you to know that according to the law of love, you have flunked. Let me say it again. According to the law of love, you have flunked. I want you to know this. There's not a human being on the face of the earth that was not blessed by God to be here. Not a human being on the face of the earth. I don't know about this AI stuff. Even God help with that. They're here by the blessings of God. The same breath of God that is in you, that causes you and me to talk as I'm doing, to breathe, to see as I'm doing, is in them as well, from the same power. But then we have been raised up by people who don't know God, have no idea of God, and they don't see you getting ready to be stabbed in the back. They don't even understand that. And so when it happens, they are confused as can be because they do not know love. My message is to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that you've blown it. Somebody might ask, do you have the right to continue to live? And I know you're going to say yes. Why? Because you want to live. But I'm asking you, what about the other people? And you can find some excuse. No, they shouldn't be living. What do you think about those people in Gaza being molded down by people who call themselves children of God, Israelites? We the chosen children of God from the beginning to the end. And you bombing little babies, bombing hospitals, bombing old people, taking away their lives. You, that you call yourselves children of God. And you got people all over the country, all over the world saying it's okay. Why? Because they bought the lie to. You got Russia over there, Ukraine, wiping out people like it's nothing. Big bad devil, big bad monster. God make you, but I take you. Ain't that something? It's a sad statement, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way we are. And then when the tsunamis come, we wonder why. When the flash floods come, we wonder why. When the worst things that can happen to you collectively, we wonder why. Maybe you brought it on yourselves, or it just happened. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. My message to you today is this. Maybe it's time for the world to end. They tell me in history that it happened a couple of times, and one was the flood. Now, I know you've kind of analyzed that and try to say it didn't mean what we were taught it meant, but nevertheless, the story still remains. It was wiped out. Why? Because the people were so sick. And if there's a time, any time that this nation should be wiped out, it would be for the same reason, because the people are so sick. This that blasted earth, built by the Almighty God, that people can come on this earth from the beginning to the absolute end, whenever that is. And all while they're here, the earth is here. The resources that have been given by that same power, that we might be able to do any and everything we choose to do, imagine to do, that we can accomplish it, given to us by that great God. And as God sent people on this earth to bring us new messages, to take us to new heights, some are aborted, some are murdered in war, and it's just taken down. No life at all. And we call ourselves somebody. Yeah, that's what the people did before the flood. And yes, I know you're laughing at me. You're laughing at me because I'm telling you you've been used. I'm telling you you've been tricked. I'm telling you is when you get up out of your bed every morning talking about I got to go make me some money so I can pay my bills or pay my rent. That's the attitudes and that's the program of Satan from the pit of hell for those who reject God, reject love, and choose hate. Walking down the streets of New York City, walking down the streets of Chicago, walking down the streets of DC, walking down the streets wherever the devil say, I'm tired because you're too good, I got to take you. And sending these ICE agents down there. The little demons, they ain't got no sense. They can't think for themselves. They let a crook, a man who's broken the rules, broken the regulations, stand before them and the American people call him president. How in the hell can you do that unless you're in hell as well? President, president, a low down dirty snake, president. And you got to be worse. To call a low down dirty snake president, you got to be worse than that president, that low down dirty snake is. And that's what you are. You talk about Donald Trump, every last American who's sitting back and not doing anything to stop this stuff is low down dirtier than Donald Trump. And somebody needs to tell you. I'm not telling you this because I hate you. I'm telling you this because somebody needs to tell you. I'm telling you this because God say, wake these sons of Satan up. Wake these daughters of Satan up. Hard job. God say do it. You don't find too many people trying to do that. These churches not trying to do that. These churches just telling you stories and ways to empty your pocketbook after you went out there and sold your soul for some dollars. That's all they want. And that's what they're doing. And you got no love in your heart at all. You got no love in your heart. I don't care what you say. There's no love in your heart. You are as evil can get. You know, I hate to say that, but it's a fact. But why am I saying it? I'm saying it because when God prepared this earth, it didn't matter if we had 500 billion people on this earth. Every last one of you, according to God's plan, could have a mansion, whatever that mansion is in your heart. Every last one of you can have unlimited food, clothing, education, healthcare, transportation, infrastructure, anything that's made by the hands of man. God has made it possible so that you, if you desire, if you want, if you need, you can have access to it. 500 billion people. Not complaining, prepared. And what are you doing? Making decisions in America. That crook running the country. That crook in America running the country. And the Supreme Court, who's supposed to be here originally to protect the people from these crooks, now done sided with the crooks. Yeah, let's get rid of them. Let's get rid of them. They don't deserve this. They don't deserve that. Who the hell gave you the permission to sue that? The devil did. You're doing it. Now, let me ask you something. Who is standing up there representing the people? Who's standing up trying to make sure that people's lives are not interrupted by evil? Who is doing it? It's not a preacher. It's not the judges. It's like people don't even care. Just kill them. Just kill them. What it means you can get a little bit more, huh? You might get an inheritance. Lord have mercy. I can't help it, ladies and gentlemen. You see, when I see you hurting one another like that, it's not joy to me. It brings tears. And then I come and tell you about it. You don't listen. You don't have, let me tell you, I know how infected we are as a people. We are as infected as people can get. Nobody is approving the things that I'm saying. I stand alone just by the spirit of the living God and truth when I stand up here and tell you these kinds of things. And most of the folks that hear me say this hate me for saying it. And when I say most of the people that are more genuine to me in this situation, my peers, my family, my siblings, who wouldn't listen to a word I got to say? Why? Because it's not what the King James Version says. It's not what Osteen says. It's not what T.D. Jakes says. It's not what Bishop Long says. It's not what T.J. What that boy name Dollar. It's not what Dollar says. It's not what the devil says. And my wife loves the daylights out of me. She don't listen to a word I say. Why? Because my talking means action, and people not want to do this kind of action. Why? Because it means that they have to stand up and be identified, and they don't want to be identified with love. Love is power. Well, they say you got love. You've been talking for 40 years. Where's your power? It's spiritual, because it's sure not with you. It's sure not with you. So you've heard it said that there were sons of God came down this way and looked at the women. Now the women represent all the other things that they focused on. And the things that they focused on, it might have been money. It might have been cars. It might have been sex. It might have been all those things, but it was more important that to them than anything else that was happening. And so as a result, this is what we have. So ladies and gentlemen, I fussed this morning. And if you listen to this video, I know one thing. You have not paid any attention to one thing I've said. Now, one thing I've said that moved you. And if it did, the only thing you said is that nigga must be crazy. And yes, if I had to be a nigga, if I have to be crazy to tell you about God, I plead guilt. I'm a nigga and crazy. But what about you? I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, wake up. Wake up while you still can breathe. There might come a time when you can't. But remember, why do you deserve to keep living when you permit all of the ugly, evil things to continue to happen around you. It's not just about living, it's about being responsible, not just for yourselves, but for everybody else that's being persecuted, for everybody else that's hurting, for everybody else that's suffering. It is the responsibility and duty of those who are not to take care of those who are having stuff imposed upon them for whatever the reasons might be, ignorant, stupid, and dumb. It is for the rest to be their insurance that it doesn't happen. And you do that because you know God. You can't do it if you don't know God. If you don't know God, you sit back and let all this happen. If you don't know God, you'll make Donald Trump president. If you don't know God, all the things that you thought was right one time, you will let them override. You can't help it. Why? You don't know God. You're a son of Satan. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I've said enough. If there's any impression to be made to you that's effective, it'll be the Spirit doing it and not me. But I am obeying what I've been given to do. I will wish it had some benefit. However, that's all I can do. I don't have that power to make it. So I'll just say until next time, maybe you will be like that young lady sitting in that train, in that seat, in front of that guy with that pocket knife. And we know what happened to that. Let's pray that we can wake up before it happens to us. Goodbye.